its symbols, its practices, and its philosophy can be traced back to one man, a man whose work influenced secret societies, magicians, and mystics for generations. His name was Eliphas Levi, and today we uncover the story of the father of modern occultism. Who was Eliphas Levi? Born as Alphonse Louis Constant in 1810 in France, Eliphas Levi was a man of paradoxes. Though he was trained for the Catholic priesthood, he never took his final vows. Instead, he embarked on a journey that led him deep into the realms of mysticism, esoteric philosophy, and the occult. Levi was captivated by the hidden knowledge of the ancients, an interest that shaped his life's work. He delved into the study of Kabbalah, alchemy, Hermeticism, astrology, and ceremonial magic, synthesizing these traditions into a coherent system. His writings would later influence the Golden Dawn, Aleister Crowley, and countless other modern occultists. One of Levi's most famous contributions to the occult was his reinterpretation of the tarot, particularly linking the major arcana to Kabbalistic principles. His book Dogme et Ritual de la Haute Magie, Dogma and Ritual of High Magic, published in 1854 to 1856, introduced many foundational ideas that would shape Western esotericism. Perhaps his most iconic creation was the modern image of Baphomet, the androgynous goat-headed figure that symbolizes duality, balance, and hidden wisdom. This powerful symbol continues to be widely recognized in occult circles today. Through his works, Eliphas Levi became a bridge between ancient esoteric traditions and modern occultism, leaving a legacy that endures in contemporary mystical practices. The birth of modern occultism by the mid-19th century, Eliphas Levi had begun to revolutionize the study of the occult through his writings. His most influential work, Dogme et Ritual de la Haute Magie, Dogma and Ritual of High Magic, published in 2 volumes between 1854 and 1856, laid the foundation for what would later be called modern occultism. Levi's work was groundbreaking because it synthesized medieval mystical traditions, Renaissance magic, and contemporary esoteric thought into a unified system. He sought to bridge the gap between ancient wisdom and modern philosophy, making the occult more accessible to intellectuals and spiritual seekers alike. One of his most significant contributions was the reintroduction of the tarot as a mystical and divinatory tool. Before Levi, the tarot had been largely dismissed as a mere card game. However, he linked the 22 major arcana to the 22 paths of the Kabbalistic tree of life, providing a structured system for understanding its deeper spiritual meanings. This association became one of the core principles of Western esotericism and is still widely used today. Levi also incorporated Kabbalah into Western occultism, merging Jewish mystical traditions with European ceremonial magic. He believed that hidden truths could be unlocked by studying the Hebrew alphabet, sacred numerology, and divine archetypes, influencing later occultists such as the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn and Aleister Crowley. Perhaps his most iconic and controversial contribution was his depiction of Baphomet. In Dogme et Ritual de la Haute Magie, Levi presented an image of Baphomet as a winged, goat-headed figure with a pentagram on its forehead, one arm pointing up and the other pointing down, symbolizing the union of opposites, as above, so below. This image has since become one of the most recognized symbols in occultism, embodying themes of balance, transformation, and hidden wisdom. Through his writings, Levi redefined the occult, elevating it from superstition to a structured, philosophical, and spiritual discipline. His influence laid the groundwork for later movements such as Theosophy, the Golden Dawn, and modern ceremonial magic, ensuring that his ideas would shape esoteric thought for generations to come. Influence on occultism. Eliphas Levi's ideas had a profound and lasting impact on the evolution of modern occultism, inspiring secret societies and mystical traditions that continue to thrive today. His works directly influenced the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, one of the most significant esoteric organizations of the late 19th and early 20th centuries. One of Levi's most ardent admirers was Aleister Crowley, the infamous occultist and founder of Thelema. Crowley regarded Levi as his spiritual predecessor, even claiming to be the reincarnation of Levi himself. Many of Crowley's key concepts, including his interpretations of ceremonial magic, astral projection, and the Kabbalistic structure of the universe, were drawn from Levi's teachings. At the heart of Levi's philosophy was the belief that magic is the harmonious balance of opposing forces, light and dark, masculine and feminine, positive and negative. This concept of duality and equilibrium became a fundamental principle in modern occult practices. The idea that energy must be balanced in order to manifest change can be seen in ritual magic, alchemy, and even contemporary New Age spirituality. Levi also championed the idea that symbols hold immense power, not merely as representations, but as active forces in the subconscious and the universe. He believed that the human mind could shape reality through will and imagination, a concept that laid the groundwork for sigil magic, chaos magic, and the law of attraction. His teachings on the vibrational nature of words, numbers, and sacred geometry remain core tenets of esoteric thought. Additionally, Levi's belief that the universe is connected by hidden, unseen forces continues to influence occult traditions today. His writings explored the idea that everything in existence is bound by universal correspondences, a concept deeply embedded in astrology, tarot, and ceremonial magic. Through his synthesis of mysticism, philosophy, and magic, Eliphas Levi became a key architect of modern esotericism. His influence can be traced through the Golden Dawn, Crowley's Thelema, Wicca, Theosophy, and modern magical lodges, ensuring that his legacy endures in the practices of occultists around the world. Eliphas Levi may have lived in the 19th century, but his influence is everywhere, in books, in tarot readings, in ceremonial magic, and even in popular culture. Whether you are a student of the occult or simply curious, his legacy remains alive, waiting to be explored. What do you think about Eliphas Levi's impact on modern occultism? Let us know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this journey into the mystical, don't forget to like and subscribe to Mystic Realms for more deep dives into the world of the unknown.
Okay, so that's who Mr. Levi was, a very popular occultist. Okay, so as you guys already know, the upcoming Super Bowl, Super Bowl 60, it will be played at Levi Stadium in San Francisco. And not in San Francisco, in Santa Clara, where the San Francisco 49ers play. And of course, as you guys can see on the screen, that will be Eliphas Levi's 218th birthday. And of course, there's one team remaining in the postseason this year that has the 218 connection, and of course, that's the Los Angeles Rams. Notice in the language of Gematria, using the reverse alphabetical order, Los Angeles Rams is 218, and again, that is Levi's 218th birthday. But more interesting than that, you guys saw the graphic that I showed in the beginning. Like I've been saying in multiple videos, if the Rams pick up one more win, which means if they beat the Seahawks on Sunday, not only is that 201 months after Matthew Stafford was drafted, of course, Rams equals 201, but they will also pick up their 666 all-time win. And think about how the number 666 is associated with the Beast. And, of course, Eliphas, I can't say this guy's name, but Eliphas Levi, of course, he was popular for creating the Baphomet, which looks like a ram, a goat. And now they have the Rams on 666 wins at the Super Bowl on his 218th birthday when the gematria of the team equals 218. You can't make this stuff up. There's a couple of other things I want to show about this, but you know, a lot of you who like the Seahawks, I'm gonna show you guys some of the narratives that they have for the Seahawks because there is a couple of numbers that supports them. But you guys have to understand that these leagues are very satanic. They worship, you know, stuff like this. and they also pay tribute to former occultists like Eliphas Levi. I'm gonna say Levi because Levi is a lot easier to say than his first name. Eliphas or Eliphas, whatever his first name is, you guys can pronounce it on your own. But I'm gonna say Levi. You guys know who I'm referring to. So think about how scripted and how ritualistic this Super Bowl is, right? So they have the Super Bowl on his birthday at the Levi Stadium. The Rams can possibly be there with 666 wins. The team that looks like the GOAT, their symbol looks like the Baphomet goat. I mean, come on. All right, look. So we'll discuss more about the Levi connection because there's definitely more symbolism there. I'm not too familiar with the history of Levi. That's why I had to listen to that video to get an understanding of who he was, what is he remembered for. Of course, he like they said in the video, he's responsible for a lot of the knowledge that a lot of these the Church of Satan, for example, a lot of the stuff that these secret societies use, they got it from Levi himself. So he's definitely a very influential person to these secret societies, like the Jesuits, like the Church of Satan, like the Freemasons and stuff like that. So, and of course, the guys from Paris, France, like how the Jesuits are from Paris, France, right? But look at the narrative for the Seahawks, because I know a lot of you like the Seahawks and stuff like that. Just know that this looks a lot like what happened last week with the Bears. The way they lined the Seahawks postseason with the Bears is almost identical. So right now the Seahawks, they are 18-19 in the postseason, and if they win on Sunday, which I highly doubt, but it's possible, they'll become 19-19. Of course, that's a big number with Seattle because Seattle equals 19, and it can also happen 19 weeks after the Pope's birthday. He was born September 14th, and from his birthday to the conference championship is 19 weeks. So, and of course, there's a narrative that every time there's a new Pope, the Seahawks make the Super Bowl. You gotta be an idiot to think that they're gonna have the Seahawks in there in this 19 ritual after noticing all of this Levi connection, especially it being his 218th birthday when Los Angeles Rams is 218, and they are on 665 wins. If you guys still choose to pick the Seahawks after gaining this information, you guys deserve to lose all of your money, because this is the problem why so many people debunk or try to debunk Gematria. Is because a lot of you who are bad at decoding, you guys fall for traps like this, right? Of course, Seattle is the 19th city, but this is how they script it because they know that there's people looking into this, and I think they anticipated this years ago that there was going to be a community. That's my guess, because I mean, I don't know when the Seahawks start going to the playoffs. I mean, this community probably didn't even exist, but I think somehow, some way, they anticipated that there might be a community someday decoding their sports games, their rigged sports games, and they planned it so that way, you know, you guys can fall for this stuff like this. The Seahawks associated with the Pope, because every time, let's see, I think it happened 3 times. So yeah, in 2005, Pope Benedict was elected, and then they clinched the #1 seed and lost in the Super Bowl. In 2013, same thing, Pope Francis was elected. They clinched the #1 seed and made the Super Bowl in that year. And now this year, Pope Leo the 14th was elected on May 8th, and they clinched the #1 seed, and now they have a possibility to go to the Super Bowl. All right, so they have this connection with the Pope, and now they got the game synced up with the Pope 19 weeks after his birthday, and they have the record synced up with the city, because now the team can become 19-19 all the time in the playoffs, because that's the gematria of their city name. See, this is the same thing they did with the Bears, right? The Bears had a narrative where Caleb Williams last week, if you guys didn't know, it was 61 days after his birthday. That's the 18th prime number. He could have became 18-18 and for his career. 18 weeks after the Pope's birthday, when Bears equals 18, a week after having an 18-point comeback against the Packers. On the 18th day of the year, number 18 could have became 18-18 after tying the game late with 18 seconds left in the game. But then what does he do? He throws a turnover on the 81st play of the game. The reflection of 18. Of course, Chicago equals 81. and then the Rams come down field. They kick a field goal and win it 20-17, a combined of 37 points, because Los Angeles is 37 like Chicago. So that's what they did. That's what they did in that game. Right? They fooled everybody with the 18s, and a lot of decoders, they fell for it because they are paying. They're falling for stuff like this. So if you guys want to fall for the 19s, go right ahead. And if you once you lose, you deserve to lose your money. But this is the type of stuff that a lot of you are showing people. Oh, look, the Seahawks are gonna win. They're gonna become 19-19. Just like last week, there was so many people talking about this 18 stuff. And even though, like, I'm like, yo, these people are like rookies. Like, I can't. Cause I'm able to see certain traps. Sometimes I'll do fall for traps. I don't want to act like I'm perfect. I do fall for certain traps sometimes, but there's certain traps that I can see a mile away. I can see a mile away. Like this last Super Bowl, that Eagles 3-peat narrative, I saw that trap a mile away. A mile away. This is another one of those traps. But again, this is a narrative. If you guys want to explore it, go right ahead. But again, these leagues are very satanic, and they pay tribute to their occult ways. Especially their occult, their famous occultists. I mean, you guys think it's a coincidence that this game is being played at Levi Stadium on Eliphas Levi's 218th birthday, and they can have the 218 team there, the Rams, the team with the GOAT logo. Levi, famous for creating the Baphomet. I'm trying to remember what was the other thing I wanted to mention. We mentioned the 201 multiple times already, multiple streams. That it's like I sound like a broken record with that already. I'm trying to remember. Hold on, just give me some time. I should have wrote this stuff down. Cannot remember right now. Anyways, but look, yeah, I just cannot remember for whatever reason. Anyways, once it comes to me, I'll probably make another post because I really wanted to communicate this to a lot of you because this is important stuff, and I like all of us to win. And I don't know if you guys noticed my notes, but Matthew Stafford, he gets one more win. He gets to 60 wins on the road on his way to Super Bowl 60. You guys think Matthew Stafford becomes 4-4 versus the Seahawks on the road for his career at Seattle? Maybe. Maybe. What am I forgetting? Oh man. Man, this is bad. My memory loss is bad. Okay, so yeah, something else I was trying to I wanted to do this video on StreamYard because I wanted people to call in and join the stream and discuss it. Because I remember years ago I did a video with Joey, Conspiracy Joey, I think his name is, and he was talking about that these games are somehow influenced by magic. And we was having that debate, and you know, in that video I said I don't believe in magic. But the thing is, I don't understand what magic is. And now that I'm listening to, you know, what Eliphas Levi is popular for, he's pretty much, you know, his I think most of his work it's showing the how magic works and what it has to do with astrology and the tarot and all that stuff, right? So I have to really do more investigation on Levi's work. I have to study it more because maybe there is magic, maybe there is such thing as magic, But I think that the idea that people have of magic, I think that's what I don't agree with. Maybe magic is real, but I don't understand what magic is. Like I think because they put the way they put magic in movies and in cartoons, I think that's what people have. I think that's the idea of magic that people have, and I think magic is something else. But I don't know what it is exactly. But I think people think that if you pull a rabbit out of a hat, that's magic. And I think magic is a little bit different than that. I think magic it's again, I don't know exactly what it is, but my idea of magic is the way they have the act everybody, like for example in a football game, these games do look magical, right? Because they have a script, they have these intense moments, these heartbreaks, these moments of joy, and then they have everybody acting, playing their part. Of course, they have the technology there to make sure that everything is in place, and it creates an illusion. People think that they're watching something that's real when it's really not. And that might be what magic is. Making something fake appear real. But I have to do more research on Levi's work because I don't know if that's what he's explained in his works. But that's my idea of magic. Making something that's not real appear real by the combination of actors, technology, scripts, and drama-driven moments, right? Like that Bears game. There was a lot of drama towards the end. Caleb Williams is about to get tackled. He runs backwards to the 40-yard line. And he throws a lob, and then one of his teammates catches it right in the corner to tie the game. Those drama-driven moments. That's what creates the magic. And I don't know if that's what Levi communicated in his work, but that's my idea of it. But isn't it something how they have they're paying tribute to a former magician in connection to these rigged sports games? Isn't that something? And then they also paying tribute to 666 and the Baphomet, the number of the beast. Like how yesterday, I think Johnny told me that the Indiana Hoosiers, the college team that just went perfect and they became 16-0. Look at this. Notice in the most simple cipher, Indiana Hoosiers became 16-0. They equal 60 in Gematria, the most basic cipher, the alphabetical order. 16-0, perfect season. And he pointed out how if you add up all the points that they had from the regular season to the postseason, they had a total of 666 points. I think the only way to confirm that, you will have to manually add up all of the points that they scored during the season and playoffs and add it all up. But they had 666. So, like I was saying in my other streams, they always pay tribute to 666 in the championship. And just like last year, they had the Eagles go to the Super Bowl on 666 wins. And then they picked up 667. And then they opened up the season picking up their 666 loss to the Broncos. But yeah, look, 16-0. Indiana Hoosiers became 16-0. Indiana Hoosiers is 160. Perfect season, perfectly scripted. Miami fell to 13-3 because football is 133, of course. And notice Ram is 49, right? They're playing the Super Bowl at the 49ers Stadium. Ram is 49. There's probably some other. And notice, you guys notice how GOAT is 65? GOAT. Right? The Baphomet is the GOAT. Notice how old Mr. Levi was when he passed away. He died at the age of 65 in Paris, France, on May 31st, 1875. All right, GOAT is 65. And let's see, 531. Died 113 days before his birthday. Oh, he died 113 days. Yeah, he died 113 days after his birthday. Speaking of 160, the team that just won the national championship, they have the 160 connection just like Los Angeles Rams. Yeah, but Mr. Levi, he died 113 days before his birthday, and it was something about his name. Oh, yeah, Levi is also 60. Perfect. I guess once you hit 40, your memory you get a lot. You get more memory loss than when you're like in your 30s. Cause I'm approaching 40, so I'm about to be 39 this year. And what was it about 113 in this guy, man? Damn. But 253. Okay. All right. So yeah, I wanna play one more video of this guy, and then I think we can close it out. But if you guys can do some more research on this and then explore it and bring it all together, I will appreciate it because this is what they're doing. They're paying tribute to the Baphomet, you guys. Stuff is sick and satanic. The father of modern occultism. I think that's the video that I just saw. Okay. That was a great video, by the way. Whoever made that. The history of magic. You see, this is what I need to do some more learning about. So let's take a listen to this video. There's a lot more videos, but I'm gonna try to get access to this book. I'll probably go to the library today because I want to read the history of magic. I want to start reading that. I think that's a book that he wrote. Let me see, make sure. Yeah, he wrote this book. Okay, so it's on Amazon. I'll let me see how much is it. It's $23 paperback. Oh, how many pages? 384 pages. So it's a pretty long book. It's gonna take me a while to read, probably a couple of weeks. Yeah, but you see, this is where I need to improve. I need to improve on my knowledge of magic because I mean it's obvious. It has to be some type of magical powers, like rocking people to sleep day after day after day. I mean, how they cannot see through the rigging, man. It's like the stuff is something doing so obvious, but still, yeah, people cannot see through it, and people get so frustrated when you try to expose it to them. Stuff is it's really annoying. All right, but yeah, the history of magic. It was yeah, written by Eliphas Levi. And notice the nice little 2-on-1 in there, just like Order of Illuminati, the history of magic. Yeah, it is. It is the Illuminati, the Order of Illuminati, doing all this. You guys think that's a coincidence? The history of magic equals order of Illuminati? Yeah, but this is definitely a book I want to read. All right, so let's just take a listen to this video and then we can move on from there.
Don't worry, Shaq. The General gives you a break to keep on your car insurance.
Or a break from your car acting up.
And he was both a Roman Catholic priest and an occultist.
Let's take a listen to this lady. Let's see what she has to say.
Levi was one of the most important figures in the 19th century occult revival. The magician Aleister Crowley later claimed that he was the reincarnation of Levi. In 1913, the history of magic was translated into English by A.E. Waite, a British poet and scholarly mystic who wrote extensively on occult and esoteric matters, and was the co-creator of the Rider-Waite Tarot deck. The history of magic explores the origins, important figures, and development of magical practices throughout history, beginning with ancient times to modern times. Translator A.E. Waite wrote a lengthy introduction to the history of magic. I found it to be very interesting because it also reveals Waite's biases. Waite inserts a plethora of footnotes within the text of the book because he says that, quote, readers of his, Levi's, history must be prepared for manifold inaccuracies. Those who know anything of Egypt, the antiquities of its religion and literature, will have a bad experience with the chapter on Hermetic magic. Those who know Eastern religion on its deeper side will regard the discourse on magic in India as title deeds of all incompetence. While in respect of later Jewish theosophy, I have had occasion in certain annotations to indicate that Levi had no extensive knowledge of those Kabbalistic texts on the importance of which he dwells so much and about which he claims to speak with full understanding. He presents, however, some of their lesser aspects, end quote. However, Waite states that regardless of the manifold inaccuracies, Eliphas Levi's account of the history of magic is an important work, and this is why he decided to translate it. He says that Levi is the authoritative exponent-in-chief of all the alleged sciences. It is he who restored and placed them under a new and more attractive vesture, and he claimed the very fullest knowledge concerning them, being both an adept and master. According to Waite, Levi's original statement of the claims, nature, and value of transcendental magic were as follows. 1. There is a potent and real magic, popular exaggerations of which are actually below the truth. 2. There is a formidable secret, which constitutes the fatal science of good and evil. 3. It confers on man powers apparently superhuman. 4. It is the traditional science of the secrets of nature, which has been transmitted to us from the Magi. 5. Initiation therein gives empire over souls to the sage, and full capacity for ruling human wills. 6. Arising apparently from this science, there is one infallible, indefectible, and truly Catholic religion, which has always existed in the world, but it is unadapted for the multitude. 7. For this reason there has come into being the exoteric religion of apologue, fable, and wonder stories, which is all that is possible for the profane. It has undergone various transformations, and it is represented at this day by Latin Christianity under the obedience of Rome. 8, its fails are valid in their symbolism, and it may be called valid for the crowd, but the doctrine of initiates is tantamount to a negation of any literal truth therein. And 9, it is magic alone which imports true science. This true science deals with the exercise of a natural power, but one superior to the ordinary forces of nature. It is described in a grimoire of magic and consists of ceremonial evocations, whether of elementary spirits, with the help of pentacles, talismans, and other magic instructions, or spirits, or the souls of the dead in necromancy. These constitute lawful works, but beyond them lies the domain of black magic, which is a realm of delusion and nightmare. Eliphas Levi described himself to be a magus of light. So, who was Eliphas Levi? He described himself as a poor and obscure scholar who has found the lever of Archimedes, and he offers it to you for the good of humanity alone, asking nothing whatsoever in exchange. He was born in Paris in 1810, the son of a poor shoemaker. As a child, he was educated by a parish priest, and he eventually became a deacon. However, his strange views on doctrinal subjects eventually led to his expulsion from the seminary. And eventually he became a teacher of occult science and of Kabbalism as its primary source, and this is probably how he earned a living. Prior to these publications, however, Levi, under his civil name Alphonse Louise Constant, authored many writings in the 1840s associated with radical socialism. He regarded himself as a representative of a long tradition of revolutionary heretics who argued for the creation of a universal religious association. J. Struby, in his scholarly paper, The Baphomet of Eliphas Levi, Its Meaning and Historical Context, argues that in the 1850s, Constant identified occultism with true Catholicism and at times with true socialism. To quote Struby, his Baphomet was to be seen as an economic representation of this true doctrine, as the Knights Templar were considered to be the successors of the very same heretical revolutionary tradition that reached back to the Gnostics of the late ancient school of Alexandria, this one and only true tradition whose ultimate goal was the establishment of a perfect social order. Constant, or Levi as we have come to know him, was deeply involved in socialist circles, and one of his closest friends was Alphonse Esquiros, 1812 to 1876. During the Revolutionary year of 1848, the two men formed a very popular club. Esquiros wrote a book on the heretical historiography of socialism, and in it he stated that, quote, the superior science that was at the root of political radicalism originated with Jesus Christ, who was the first revolutionary, and was handed down in the form of occultic works such as astrology, alchemy, and magic, which concealed the opposition of the human spirit during the centuries of darkness, especially the religious opposition, followed by the opposition against monarchy, end quote. Levi was also familiar with other topics that were essential to radical socialist writings during the 1830s and 1840s. These included Lucifer and the notion of the redemption of Satan. However, by 1845, Levi had turned to Catholic traditionalism and rationalism and emphasized the need for authority and hierarchy. This is probably why A.E. Waite, when writing the introduction to the history of magic, wrote, "What has happened to a writer who has thus gone back on his own most strenuous claims?" However, Struby explains this by stating that Levi did not abandon his old beliefs, but became convinced that he had come to their true meaning. There's much confusion among the general public as to the meaning of Levi's Baphomet. A.E. Waite used it in his famous tarot card deck as representing the devil. However, it appears that A.E. Waite was mistaken in his interpretation of Levi's image of Baphomet. Levi himself wrote in his book on Dogma and Ritual of High Magic that it is not a representation of the Christian devil. He denied the existence of the devil altogether. He wrote, quote, "Satan as a superior personality and as a force does not exist. Satan is the personification of all errors, all perversities, and consequently also of all weaknesses. The devil, in black magic, is the great magical agent employed for evil by a perverted will," end quote. He also denied that there was any connection between Lucifer and Satan. Instead, Lucifer and Satan symbolized two opposing tendencies in human nature that were not separate tendencies, but either positive or negative forces of what he called the astral light. Lucifer, the force of liberty and progress, and Satan, perversion and anarchy. Therefore, we can see that Levi's Baphomet is best understood within the context of the socialist doctrines he was studying in the 1840s. Those doctrines had as their aim the creation of a perfect social order. Levi's teachings about occultic science were supposed to lead to a final synthesis of science, religion, and philosophy. The Baphomet served as a symbol of the astral light, the medium of all magic, and the goal of the magus was to gain power over it. By the time of his death around 1875, a large collection of manuscripts, many unpublished, were left behind. Besides the history of magic, two of the most significant included The Doctrine of Transcendental Magic, published in 1855, and Dogma and Ritual of High Magic, published in 1856. Levi incorporated the tarot cards into his magical system, and as a result, the tarot has been an important part of the paraphernalia of Western magicians. The magicians of the Golden Dawn were strongly influenced by his writings. Levi explains that he followed the rational order of sacred numbers when dividing the subject material of his book. The history of magic is arranged in 7 books, each with 7 chapters. The first book is dedicated to the sources of magic and designated with the key letter Aleph. Book 2 contains historical background and its key letter is Beth. The third book discusses the realizations of antique science in Christian society and its letter is Gimel. Book 4 is about the civilizing power of magic among various groups, and its letter is Dalet. Book 5 is about adepts and the priesthood and is represented by the letter He, represented in the magical alphabet by the symbol of a high priest. Book 6 exhibits the intervention of magic in the work of the revolution, and its corresponding letter is Vau, symbol of the creative lingam and the reaper's sickle. The last book, Book 7, contains an exposition of modern workings and discoveries, new theories on light and magnetism, and is the summary of the science itself. Levi refers to Book 7 as the crown of the work, as the septenary is the crown of numbers, uniting the triangle of idea to the square of form, and its corresponding letter is Zain. In the introduction to his book, Levi defines magic as the science of the ancient magi. He says that it combines in a single science that which is most certain in philosophy, which is eternal and infallible in religion. He notes that the doctrines and mysteries of magic have been degraded over the ages due to misuse by practitioners who unwisely made secret things known and allowed the teachings to fall into the hands of the unworthy. He describes himself as a Catholic Christian. Levi describes the force responsible for what he calls practical magic. He says, quote, "There is a composite agent, a natural and divine agent, at once corporeal and spiritual, and universal plastic mediator, a common receptacle for vibrations of movement and images of form, a fluid and a force which may be called, in a sense at least, the imagination of nature. By the mediation of this force, every nervous apparatus is in secret communication together. Hence comes sympathy and antipathy, hence dreams, hence the phenomena of second sight and extranatural vision. The universal agent of nature's works is the astral light of the Martinus. According to Levi, this astral light warms, illuminates, magnetizes, attracts, repels, vilifies, destroys, coagulates, separates, breaks, and conjoins everything under the impetus of powerful wills. God created it on the first day when he said, "Let there be light." This force itself is blind, but it is directed by egregores, that is, by chiefs of souls, or in other words, by energetic and active spirits. And egregores is spelled Egregores. When this astral light is congested or overwhelms the brain, sight is turned inward instead of outward. And this is the cause of apparitions, extraordinary visions, and intuitive phenomena that are linked to madness or ecstasy. This force is to be used in an appropriate fashion by initiates only, because in the wrong hands, it can become black magic. Levi dreamed of a great religious harmony which does not exist outside what he says is the lawful hierarchy of the Catholic Church. He traces the primal tradition of this one and only revelation to the Kabbalistic doctrine preserved by the priesthood of Israel. This, he says, is contained in the Sefer Yetzirah, or the Book of Creation, the Zohar, the Book of Splendor, and the Talmud. Levi notes that scriptures say that Solomon erected 2 columns before the door of his temple called Joachim and Boaz, meaning the strong and the weak. This symbolizes the idea that every force postulates a resistance on which it can work. Every light a shadow, every convex a concave, every influx a receptacle, every reign a kingdom, every sovereign a people. And these are only some examples. Light without shadow, for example, would be invisible for human eyes because it would produce an overpowering brilliance equal to the greatest darkness. Light is the active principle and darkness is the passive principle. Levi states that Kabbalistic symbolism represents God by a duplicated image, one upright, the other reversed, one white, and the other black. At the end of his long introduction, Levi discusses what he calls the war which the church has been forced to make against magic. He says it became necessary for the church to take this action because of false Gnostics who propagated a profane version of magic. He proclaims that the true science of the Magi is Catholic essentially because the Catholic Church has within it a serious and absolute hierarchy. In Levi's words, quote, magic had its anarchists, its makers and adherents of sects, its thaumaturgists and sorcerers. The role of the serious magician, however, and his purpose in writing the book is to present a serious account of the science of magic, especially since many do not believe that it is a science. Levi says that most people are attracted to magic because they see it as a way to satisfy their passions, and they think that magic will provide a path to realizing that goal. In his eyes, this profanes the true science of occultism. In the next video, I will try to break down the content of the history of magic by summarizing the most significant and interesting portions of each of the 7 books. It is a lengthy book. It took me a long time to read through the whole thing. So I'm not going to be able to go too far in depth, but hopefully you will at least get a flavor for what Eliphas Levi was trying to do with the history of magic. He was trying to summarize and preserve important information. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
Yes, great book. And shout out to that person as well. She did a great job. Okay. Yeah. So my question to you is, do you realize how satanic the Super Bowl will be? Isn't it interesting that today is 20/1 and I chose to make this video absolutely by accident. Did not plan this at all. But I think today's the perfect day to study the history of magic on 20/1. So if you're not doing anything, go watch more of those videos from that young lady. Let's just put her YouTube channel on the screen so you guys can see it. I think that's her YouTube channel there. So if you guys want to learn more, actually, no, excuse me. This is her channel here, Maria Orsic. She has multiple videos, 480 likes. 481 views. I mean, these are the type of videos that need 400 million views, but everybody's busy watching the Beast, Mr. Beast. This is what everybody on YouTube is interested in. Videos by this guy right here. This guy gets 88 million views. Oh my fucking goodness. And people like Maria don't even get 1,000 views. All right, you guys. Enjoy your Tuesday and thank you for watching.